From an undisclosed location in North America, you are watching Card to Card. And in this episode, looks like we got a fish. We're talking about the Iliamna. It's hard to say that for me. The Iliamna lake monster. And as you can see, there's the artwork there by Isaac Lee. Very scary looking fish there, or whatever that thing is, a monster of some kind. Yeah, this is from the Nightfall first edition card from that set. And so what in the world is an Iliamna lake monster? Well, for centuries in Alaska at Lake Iliamna, there have been these numerous sightings of a huge lake monster. Now, this is not, just the typical Loch Ness monster type of monster, like a serpent-like monster, but this is a monster-sized fish called the Iliamna lake monster. The monster, or should I say monsters, are nicknamed Ili. They've been called Gonakadet by some of the native peoples of that area, or also Jig-Iknak in various tongues. So, surprisingly, being just a fish, they say this monster fish has even caused several deaths over the years. And it's said to be between 10 to 30 feet in length and has a square-like head. You can kind of see that kind of weird shaped head there in the picture. So, we actually have a picture here. This is a picture, either that or artist rendition, not really sure. But this is of the... Now remember, when we show stuff like this, viewer discretion is advised. But there is an airplane flying over Lake Iliamna, and as you can see, there are a bunch of these gigantic fish there in the water. So what in the world is this? And what you might be asking yourself is, how can such a huge fish, this is not the ocean, this is a lake. So how can such a huge fish live in this lake? Well, I'm glad you asked. Lake Iliamna is a huge, gigantic lake, over 1,000 square miles of water surface. And it also at the deepest point is almost 1,000 feet deep. So there can be some very scary stuff in water that deep and that big. Lake Iliamna is also very remote and often has to be accessed by plane, as we saw in that picture. And this is how many of these sightings have taken place. People flying over the lake and seeing these incredibly huge fish. Now, the native peoples, they have reported seeing this monster back all the way to the 1700s. So it's been around for a long time. And these are some of the sightings, like the documented sightings that have happened. In 1942, Bob Aylesworth and Bill Hammersley, they saw several of these gigantic fish that appeared to look, they thought they looked like submarines as they flew over the lake in their airplane. And they actually doubled back to try to get some measurements, but it's hard to do it from the air. Now, some people claim that these fish are actually whales that kind of like swim upstream into this lake, but as noted by people that have seen these, they don't surface like a whale, and they don't breathe air, so they have to be some type of fish. So in 1947, Larry Roast, he flew over the lake, saw some fish that he said were over 20 feet long. 1963. Now this is credible. These were biologists. They reported seeing one particularly huge fish, 25 to 30 feet long, and it did not surface for air. So it was not a whale. Incredible. So in 1967, Chuck Kropashooties, he landed by one of them, or because I think there's more than one. So he landed by a big one, I'll just say. He had a floater plane, and he set like a really strong bait line with he baited it with caribou, and the fish bit and knocked him off the boat, or off his plane, his floater plane, and pulled that plane around the lake for several miles. Now, it did get away. It straightened out the hook. Now, if you've ever been fishing, you know it takes a really strong fish to straighten a hook. Now, this was not just like a big old catfish hook. This was a 9-inch hook. And like I said, it dragged an airplane around the lake. 1977, Tim Laporte. He saw one. He estimated it was 12 to 14 feet. So, what's going on here? Well, what is this huge fish? Well, we have a video that shows this monster in its habitat. Let's go ahead and roll that. Viewer discretion is advised. Okay, so in that video, that is the creature that I think people are seeing. It very much fits the descriptions that we hear. And let me tell you guys, that particular fish in that video was measured at 10.5 feet. So keep that number in mind. The theory that I believe, now you guys put down in the comments what you think. Are these whales that are coming up into this lake Iliamna, or what? Well, the theory that I believe is this is not a whale that has made its way up that river and into that lake. I think it's a native species to the region, and there is a huge fish. The largest fish in North America is native to that region, and it's called the white sturgeon. And that was a white sturgeon in that video we just saw. The color is a match for what people described. It looks metallic, kind of like that metallic gray color. They look very torpedo-like in the water. So if you saw a big one, it very well could look like a submarine. The sturgeon is an actual fish, so it's not having to come up and breathe. And according to the Marine Fishes Commission, the white sturgeon is the largest freshwater fish in North America and can be over 1,500 pounds, live over 100 years, and grow over 20 feet in length. Holy smokes. So, I don't think there's any doubt when you look at all these facts and the fact that this fish is in that, that's the natural habitat of this fish that are in Lake Iliamna. That is the habitat of the white sturgeon. And I think just because that lake is so big and so deep, there's probably some down there that have lived for 150 years. Who knows how big those things are getting. And, you know, they're bottom feeders. They're not going to come up and surface very often. They don't need to come up and surface for air because they are fish. Incredible. I love stories like this, and I would love to see one of these with my own eyes, especially like a 25 to 30 foot one. Holy smokes! So I think, but the only thing that's kind of weird is it's been reported that this monster has caused deaths. I guess if it grabbed a hold of you, one of the really big ones, and dragged you under, it could kill you. I guess if you, I don't know, they're just so big. 1,500 pounds can kill a person. Especially if you're trying to catch it and it, just hauls off and nails you with its tail with all that force. But anyway, guys, what do you think? I think this is a real cryptid, and I think it's a real actual animal, and I think it's a white sturgeon. I think we've solved this one. So, thank you for watching. And, if you're ever at that lake, and supposedly it's a very remote lake, hard to get to, you're out on the water or flying over, keep your eyes out.